Chile Today podcast. I'm Bethany Francis.
And I'm Alicia Lubin. We're two broads living abroad, broadcasting from Santiago, Chile.
We explore Chilean news, cultural topics, travel, business, and more.
The Chile Today podcast is the first ever bi-weekly English-speaking Chilean news podcast.
To learn more about the news topics you'll hear today, check out ChileToday.cl and enjoy quick updates from around the country on Instagram at Chile Today News.
If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. Also, if you're feeling generous, rate and review us and share our episodes on your Instagram stories.
If you'd like to hear about a certain topic or have a story to share, or would like to just ask a question, contact us directly through our Instagram at Chile Today Podcast. Hi everyone, this is Bethany. So we're going to do something a little bit different for the next few weeks because our wonderful Alicia is focusing on some different stuff in her life, some projects, and we wish her all of the best luck. We support her 110%. In the meantime, we are going to have guests on the show to give us their perspective of Chile and talk about different kinds of things, get some little freshness in there. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, just email us at Chile Today Podcast with a topic you'd want to talk about, or on our Instagram. Well, our email is chiletodaypodcast@gmail.com, and our Instagram is at Chile Today Podcast. You guys know. Okay, so today our guest is the wonderful, my great friend Alejandro. Hi, Alejandro.
Hello.
So, introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
Oh my god, putting me on the spotlight right away.
Wait,
I'm Alejandro. I'm from the Chistolas. Alejandro Venegas is my full name.
Wait, what's the Chistolas? Tell the lovely people.
I will. The Chistolas is a stand-up comedy group. We hold bilingual shows, English shows. It's the one group or community that does stand-up comedy shows in English.
Yeah.
Or in both languages.
Yeah, and actually, if you've listened to the podcast, I'm actually also in the Chistolas. And back in the day, the before times, it was so much fun to do shows. We had huge shows. I mean, when I say huge, I mean like the bars would be full, but not like, at a theater or anything like that.
Arenas or...
No. But fun, we like bars. We like casual stuff, like drink, listen to comedy. I remember those times. That's how we met.
That's how we met, yeah.
Yeah.
And, but sometimes we would have full house.
Yeah.
Why not mention that?
Oh, man, yeah. So the reason that we're mentioning that is actually finally, after all this pandemic time has been happening, we're as a group having our first live show. So tell them about that.
First live show after the pandemic started. We have had a couple of online shows and the videos. You can check them out on our Instagram. At the Chistolas is the handle. And it's going to be September 4th, Saturday, September 4th, at TPM Bar, TPM in Tobalaba. It's called like that because Tomate Paltamayo.
Oh, nice. Very Chilean. Hilarious. So is it going to be inside or outside?
It's important to mention that this is the TPM in Tobalaba, not the one in Hernando de Aguirres, because there are several TPM bars. Okay. The one in Tobalaba, 455.
So don't worry, guys, if you're confused about the handle or whatever. We're going to put all of it in the description, so you get a link to the event and everything like that. So is it inside or is it outside?
It's inside, but it's going to be with required limits of people.
So show up early, or is it reservation?
There's a link that we're also going to post. There's a link with the selling of the tickets.
Okay, perfect. So if you want to go, buy a ticket.
Yeah, if you want to go, buy a ticket at the link that we're going to. It's too long to say it.
Sure, no. HTTP://
It's from the website Risaicomedia, which is also...
We'll put the link.
Which is also another comedy community.
Great. I'm so excited that we finally get to post or advertise events on the podcast again because, man, oh man, we started doing that. Was one of the reasons we started the podcast was to help you guys connect and find people. But now we get to do that. So the way that we'll do that, if you don't remember our first episodes, is we'll talk about the events at the end of the show. So if you're looking for events, then that's where they'll be. But today we're doing it here at the top because that's where Alejandro's from. Also, the Chistolas does other types of events, and there's another event coming up at the beginning of October. What day is that?
The 7th.
The 7th of October. And this is actually, it's something me and Alejandro and Pinguino work on together called a horrible movie night. And it's basically where we watch a horrible movie that is hilarious and funny in a bar, and we drink and we just crack up. And it's absolutely free. And it's just it's a fun time. And then the idea is that it will be monthly, but you never know with the pandemic. We got to do one of them.
Yeah.
One of them before the pandemic started. We watched
Wasn't it 2?
Did we do 2? No, we did 1. We had the next one planned, and we didn't get to do it.
We watched Velociraptor.
Velocipaster. Which is a preacher that turns into a velociraptor and goes on a rampage. But there's also ninjas. So it was hilarious and so much fun. And it's a really fun way to meet people. It's usually the movies are in English but with Spanish subtitles. So bring anybody that you want. It's really fun. There will be limitations again on space. So this one's first come, first serve. And bring your pase de movilidad.
I was going to say that too before for the Chistola show. We're going to require that you bring your pase de movilidad as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the movie night's also sponsored by the Chistolas and the
so
podcast.
Excited.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Movie. They're always so fun.
Yeah. So today we have several different things to talk about. News.
Oh, news thing.
Okay, so our first piece of news is controversial Domingo mining project gets an environmental license. You might have been seeing this on the internet with a little penguin that looks just like Pinguino, who it was against this. It's very controversial. So the Environmental Commission of Coquimbo Region has approved with 11-1 votes the Dominga iron or copper mining project, but the Supreme Court also needs to issue a ruling before the construction can actually begin. It was rejected in 2017, but the appeal with a successful appeal with the Antofagasta Environmental Court. The Environmental Commission has approved the project now under certain still secret conditions. Dun, dun, dun. So I don't know what that means. Yeah. So Andes Iron is a joint stock company controlled by the Delano family. Do you know anything about them?
Yeah. Ano, you can also say.
Of the anus.
Yes.
So I guess they're one of
I've heard, and I've seen like signs in the road of like they own stuff.
Okay,
they own,
project.
Yeah, like companies.
Like companies.
Like
okay.
There are brands that are Delano.
Okay, well, that's a horrible name. I would change my name if it was
Everybody
Delano.
says that.
Yeah, I mean, sure. It's like if I would not sell meat if I was a company. Carne Delano.
The most vandalized signs are always there.
Delano, I am sure they are. So Dominga involves 2 open pit mines planned to produce 12 MT/Y, no idea what that means, of iron ore and 150,000 T/Y of copper in concentrates. If you know what that means, congrats. I'm sure it's a lot. 3 underground pipelines would connect the mine to a megaport planned by La Higuera near the ecologically unique Humboldt archipelago, which is why it's so controversial, because the archipelago is unique in the world. So the archipelago comprises 8 islands and islets, which are among the world's top 14 biodiversity locations. The area is home to about 80% of the Humboldt penguin population. Poor Pinguino. I'm sure he has family and friends there.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So there's strong opposition to the Dominga over environmental concerns, which is why it was rejected in 2017 by the Environmental Assessment Service. But Andes Iron claims the rejection was illegal, and the issue has even reached the Supreme Court. Ocean Protection NGO Oceana said it was a black day for the Chilean environment, and Greenpeace Chile said the decision was scandalous since it is a disastrous project for one of the most important places of biodiversity on the planet. Gabriel Boric, who is running for left-wing Apruebo Dignidad list for president, said, quote, Chile Vamos and the right are doing irreparable damage by allowing the Domingo mining project to continue. So the affairs manager of the Andes Corporation told CNN Chile that this is a project that has broad citizen support, and the Domingo will be a great green mining project. Sergio Alvarez, head of the Ciudadanos por Dominga Association, held the approval and promised to start working with more people of the community. I'm not sure if it has broad citizen support. I haven't seen that.
Me neither.
I haven't asked all the citizens of Chile, but I'm just not seeing that.
I haven't either, but I haven't seen much support.
Right, that was your task for the podcast today, asking all of the citizens if they supported the Dominga mining project, Alejandro.
Well, you only gave me like 2 days, and
isn't that enough?
17 million people it's hard to keep up with and ask questions.
Right, but the presidential polls usually just ask like 4 or 5 people, and they're like, "This is what this is who Chile is voting for."
We ask 200 people.
We asked 200 people, all in Las Condes, who they're voting for. So this is the people going to win the election. Okay, so second piece of news is sad that the Congressional Committee has rejected the new abortion bill. So Congress Women and Gender Equality Committee has rejected 6-7 votes in abortion legalization bill, issuing a negative recommendation for the general debate. Representatives that voted in favor were Camila Rojas, Maite Orsini, Maya Fernandez, Marcela Hernando, Patricia Rubio, and Marisela Santibáñez. So rejections came from the independent. I'm not going to list all their names. From the right wing. Okay, so after the vote, I didn't mean to list the left and give them more credence. I just decided I was lazy halfway through that. So I'm not trying to be political in that.
No, it's too many names to mention.
I'm just lazy. After the vote, the committee's head, Maite Orsini, tweeted, "Women's rights can't keep depending on people who put their beliefs over public health." Abortion is common, if largely illegal. Carlos Ibáñez del Campo started liberalizing abortion in 1931 by legalizing therapeutic abortion. In 89, the Cardinal Jorge Medina and Admiral Jose Toribio? Yeah, that's the one, Marino, who was among the coup plotters of 73, successfully pushed for the abolishing measure. So actually, we've talked about this before on the podcast. Abortion used to be legal, and then after the dictatorship, it was illegal.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I didn't know that about Ibáñez del Campo.
Yep.
So many years ago.
Yeah. So legalizing abortion has been a persistent social demand, but it was only partially legalized, again, in 2017, a very big year, apparently. The Bachelet administration implemented the 3 causes law, allowing abortion when the pregnancy endangers, 1, the mother's life, 2, if the fetus is not viable, or if the pregnancy resulted from rape.
Incest, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which would, I guess, fall under the category of rape, right?
Within the same.
Right.
Yes.
So in the latter case, the victims have to prove a crime occurred within weeks and convince a doctor, which sounds absolutely horrifying. The burden of proof is lighter in other cases, but women must still find doctors that confirm the respective health conditions, because here doctors have the right to refuse abortions. So unfortunately, a lot of doctors have publicly come out saying that they refuse abortions, and unfortunately this affects lower class people more than it does upper class people for lots of different reasons. So especially with private clinics. And all those private clinics are owned by the conservative wing of the country's economic elite. Okay, so between January and March of 2009, it is estimated that 142 abortions were performed under these 3 causes. So clandestine abortions still remain something that is very big in Chile because they're often carried out in cash payment, even in Santiago's upscale districts. A 2013 study by the Chilean Institute of Reproductive Medicine found that 70,000 clandestine abortions occur every year.
Damn.
And I would imagine that that's probably a conservative number because, I mean, you can make abortions illegal, but they're still going to happen. Yeah. I mean, it happens.
For sure.
That's scary. Like, I remember moving here and somebody told me abortion was illegal and they're like, they can put you in jail. And I was like, what? Like, and you have to, for example, if you have a miscarriage and you go to a hospital and they think that you like tried to abort the baby, they can actually sue you. And it's like, that's scary. And so that's terrifying.
Wouldn't a doctor know?
You would assume so, right?
You know what I mean?
But like, I mean, I feel like as a woman, I should probably know more about this. If you got info, that would be a really good thing for a guest to come on here and explain. Oh wait, Pinguino, you might know this. No, I only ask because his family works in the sector.
I think they do know, but it takes a while, like analyzing.
Yeah, because I think the pills provoke a miscarriage, right? And so it would be hard to tell if you took the medicine versus if your body did it. Right? So I would not know. Just don't go to a conservative, don't go to like Clínica Los Andes for if you have problems with a miscarriage.
With that situation,
that situation. So this next article is kind of a trigger warning. It does involve abuse and rape. So if this is something that is going to, you feel like it's going to affect you, you can always skip over to the more fun part of the podcast where me and Alejandro talk about our theme. So just a little bit of trigger warning. So Chilean women firefighters are saying that 46% of them have been abused by somebody in the institution. So like half. So a report on gender violence among firefighters indicated that these 46% have suffered sexual abuse within the institution, and the report indicates that 9% of the respondents have considered self-harm or suicide as a result.
Damn.
So,
that's sad.
Oh my, yeah, like, sad, but unfortunately not surprising.
Yeah.
And unfortunately. So the report was issued by Yo Te Creo, a foundation that seeks to prevent gender-based discrimination and abuse through education, advice, and management. And the members are doctors of psychiatry. For example, Claudio Lopez Núñez interviewed a total of 392 firefighters between the ages of 15 and 50, which is 5% of the total among the National Fire Department, according to figures provided by the National Board of Firefighters in Chile in 2019. If you're a statistics person, I'm not sure what you think of that sample size. I don't know. So Marco Ormazábal? I'm so glad to have a native speaker here with me today. Me and Alicia just clonk through a collab.
I've heard some of those.
Yeah, we clonk through on the names. With all the respect we're trying to give.
Trying to say names.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm trying my best. I really appreciate the support.
Yeah, no, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think nobody's like, oh my god, how can she?
I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of the names at all.
The name.
I'm doing my best. So it says as many as 85% of female firefighters interviewed said they had suffered violence, harassment, or abuse of a non-sexual nature. When specifically asked about sexual harassment, defined as non-concentrated sexual requirements made by a member of greater or equal hierarchy, 65% said they had experienced it. Regarding physical violence, 10% said they had suffered some kind of direct physical aggression, and 12 of those surveyed said they had a degree of disability. Not sure what that means. Like they were disabled, I guess, like they were controlled, they couldn't move or something, I guess is what that means. 9% said they had suicidal thoughts, 22% had sought pharmaceutical therapy, and 19% had sought psychological intervention. So,
can I ask a question?
Sure.
You know I can be a little bit of a scatterbrain.
Yeah.
Actually, I said scattermind. That's because I'm a scatterbrain.
Right.
From the compañeros the abuses are from their peers. That
Yeah,
are in the
yeah.
same level.
Yeah.
Bomberos.
Yeah, they're also it's within
Mostly-
the institution,
Mhm.
and
Or from like a boss. You know what I mean?
yeah, it says within the institution. And earlier I said that it said that there was a percentage within the hierarchy. What did I say? Let me look at my notes again.
All right.
Yeah, I said 64% said it was of greater or equal hierarchy.
Okay.
So on their level or a boss.
I see.
So Maria Jose Aoud, Undersecretary of Women and Gender Equity, thanked the foundation for their work, emphasizing that it's a reality that's not different from various institutions in the country, calling the circumstances very worrying. So, as I said before, it's not super shocking because this is male-dominated situations often have these consequences for women, and we have to find a solution for this.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing that it's coming out.
Yeah.
And it's one more step. As you said, this is not surprising. It's one more step on this whole phenomenon or process, whatever we want to call it, that started in 2017.
Right.
With all the sexual harassment, sexual abuse allegations.
With the Me Too
and with the
movement.
Me Too movement, and how we have been finding out that this is not only a media, film, or Hollywood problem, but it happens in bakeries. It happens in
Bakeries.
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I know what you mean.
it happens
Avoid bakeries, women.
It happens in
That yeast.
with the bomberos,
It happens
with-
it happens everywhere.
with offices.
Yeah. And it's good to have these surveys because now we know, and now there is evidence that we have, like, we can say this is happening now, what do we do about it?
Yeah,
How do we
yeah.
stop this? How do we, educate people, and instead of, because at least for in my own personal experience and a lot of my women friends, we tend to avoid maybe careers or things like that, or situations that
Yeah.
are very male dominated because of fear of
yeah, and I've been hearing more and more about this over the last couple of years.
yeah, it's
And
like
it's sad.
it's super sad, and but I'm hoping that the next generation of women gets to live in a better world with more freedom to make those decisions. So I'm glad that these things are coming out. It's really sad to read about, but in the end I think it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, because there's the psychiatrist intervention and there's psychological intervention and all that.
Yeah, and
So
it's
that's
showing
really good.
yeah.
Like, help is coming.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it's showing that this aggression that maybe men could say like, oh, it's not a big deal, I just did that, it wasn't like I raped her or whatever. There's evidence that it's still scarring. Like these women still suffer from those moments in their life. So
there are studies.
Yeah, there are studies that are like, no, it was a big deal. Like, don't brush it off. Just because it wasn't a big deal to you doesn't mean it wasn't a big deal to her. And also, that this doesn't just happen to women. It does happen to men too.
Yeah,
Men
yeah.
get sexually harassed. I don't want to make anybody feel like that doesn't happen to men as well. I
They
think
experience sexual assault.
absolutely all of those things. So it is an issue for women in a bigger way institutionally, but I think that education and intervention will help every gender. Yeah, every sex, every gender. So I think it's a good thing. So turning from something less depressing into something kind of adorable is we're celebrating fungus in the animal kingdom in Chile.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently Chile is really, really good for fungus.
For honguitos.
Honguitos. There was this woman named Juliana Fursi, and she accidentally found a unique type of fungus in Chile, and it quote changed her life. And she was 19 years old in Chiloé. She was walking along trying to do some research on animals, and she saw this fungus, and now it's she changed her whole career so she could study fungus in Chile.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So she dedicated her life to studying and protecting the plant. She says one of the planet's most important but least known groups of organisms. She became Chile's first female field mycologist, which is a specialization in biology for fungi. Look at us. That'd be a good trivia question.
Can I just do a side comment? Have you noticed that Chiloé is very similar to Ireland? It's an island.
What?
It's an island where people like go into the forest and they have some mushroom and they start to see gnomes and
Do they do that in Chile?
and angels and goblins, etc.
Wait, what is this is new to me. What is happening right
No,
now?
I'm just doing a parallel between
People
two
wait, hold on.
regions.
People do that in Ireland? People like in Ireland go to
I
the
mean,
forest?
no, not necessarily, but there's a lot of mythology coming from there, so I'm assuming that there are also a lot of people going around the forest and have some plants or fungi or, you know, and the mythology from Chile has some similarities.
Oh, okay, so like you're saying leprechauns.
Yes.
I think Pinguino wants to say something.
Yeah, the reason why there's so many parallels is because a lot of sailors went to Chile.
Oh, that's
So-
They brought their mythology
Yeah,
with
yeah.
them. Okay.
That's true, and that's how we started to.
That's why there's a Chiloan mermaid.
There's a mermaid. I was gonna say that. Yes.
Yeah, the Caleuche, which is basically the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah.
Should I repeat that, or are you just going to keep your voice in?
I'm just gonna keep it.
Okay, cool. I like it when you talk. Such a gravelly voice for
I
a
was
penguin.
gonna say like, was it too much of a?
No, I love it. No, I think that's
como,
amazing.
eh,
Irish people
out of
confirm.
the blue, freaky.
No, Irish people confirm. Do you like mushrooms? If you do, we can. I'm all about having a mushroom episode. Let's do it. I'm not gonna take mushrooms.
My Australian friend Ellie, you've met her. She
Yeah.
She knows how to. She had a whole like plantation, I guess I would call it, of mushrooms. She knows how to do it. She knows how to work the materials and
Like the magic mushrooms.
she grows them. No.
Just mushrooms in general.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this woman, as we were talking about, she has written field guides. She launched the Fungi Foundation, which is the first NGO dedicated to fungus. And she said Chile has made history by becoming the first country in the world to include the protection of fungi, organisms such as yeast, molds, mildews, and lichens, which I thought were werewolves, but apparently also mushrooms, in its legislation. So she said, my work is really about bringing justice to the fungi. Sorry, it's been very serious. Acknowledging their essential and fundamental role. She said they're the coolest and most important organism on Earth. Life on Earth wouldn't exist as we know without them, but they're very unacknowledged. As herself, Fercy is what she describes as a product of exile. She was born and brought up in London after her Chilean mother, a student and member of the Socialist Party, was forced to flee by the brutal dictatorship. After the turn of democracy in the 90s, her family moved back to Chile when she was 15. She says the children of exiles are a generation of unrooted people. And so she has like really cool story. And although she came to find this like fungus by chance, she said these are underappreciated. And because she says fungi are the recyclers, the decomposers, they make sure energy is ever flowing in the ecosystem. It allows plants to live outside of water and allows animals to digest their food. She says even they enable plants to communicate with each other, which I'm not exactly sure what that means, but cool. So she says fungi are even important to humans, and although they provoke like squeamishness and disgust or even fear, these organisms are responsible for everything from bread to beer to antibiotics. So fungi not only feed us, they also heal us. Mm-hmm. And she said they also play a vital role in addressing the climate crisis thanks to their ability to sequester carbon and encourage biodiversity. So there's even an Amazonian fungus that can break down plastics, which is really cool. So apparently Chile is one of the best places in the world to study fungus. She says that it's a fungi hotspot. The north is covered by the world's driest desert outside the poles. The central region have a Mediterranean-style climate. And then, of course, the south with the rainforest glaciers, fjords, and tundra, as we know, has one of the largest coastlines, Chilean things. Mm-hmm. So indigenous people such as the Mapuche have used fungus for forever as food and medicine. And now they're trying to also map ancestral and traditional use of funguses in Chile. So it's super interesting. And also, while the indigenous people have always taken advantage of the country's fungus, First, he says that in general, Chileans who don't have that ancestry are a little bit like turned off by fungus, and she wants to make it more widely accepted. She says that Chileans are sometimes called the British of South America because it is one of the most conservative countries, and people are scared of eating the wrong mushrooms, so there's like a cautionary approach. So she's trying to change these attitudes, working closely with chefs, raising awareness about the country's mushrooms, and share these ingredients to improve unique cuisine in Chile.
Wow.
Yeah.
They are cool.
Mushrooms are cool. They're pretty.
They're super cool.
Yeah. I like
them.
mushrooms.
I like them a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah. They're tasty. They apparently are going to save the world. They're like the cockroaches of the plant family, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah, so very cool. I didn't know. I learned something. Hope you learned something. I enjoyed that.
I learned a little something, for sure.
Great.
I didn't know about this woman.
Yeah.
Can you say the name again, please?
Yes, of course. Her name, if I don't pronounce it wrong, is Juliana Fursi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she has a really cool... Hey, Juliana, if you're
Juliana
listening,
Fursi.
we would love to interview you. You sound fascinating, as well as your mushrooms.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so today Alejandro's here, and we're going to discuss 7 things that gringos or foreigners assume about Chileans that might actually be true from, and he's, as a Chilean man, gonna confirm these things. So what's your first one? Some of these things.
Yeah, because we Chileans usually can get a little bit defensive when we hear gringos talk about our, culture and people. And these are the things that I've heard them talk, and then after a while I'm like, you know what? You're right. This actually, I agree. When I start to reconnect with all of the things that I've been thinking about my own country, my own people, culture, whatever, I'm like, yes, yeah.
You might be right.
We agree.
But sometimes it's okay for a Chilean to say it about themselves, and less okay or not okay for like some foreigner to come in and be like, you know what? That's what I want.
That's right.
Right? Okay, so what's your first one?
Yeah, I think it's good to say a disclaimer that these are my own personal opinions, our own personal opinions and perceptions. Although I feel like Chile Today podcast audience pretty much knows that there are a lot of opinions going on in this.
Sure, yeah.
In this podcast.
And we love Chile, and we love Chileans, and we never want to like shit on them at all.
Exactly.
It's just sharing the love,
I feel like people are listening are going like, yeah, this is what you say before you're gonna say something.
So something real before you're actually gonna shit on Chile.
Critical or negative.
And I don't know what he's gonna say, so we'll get my live reaction to this. So what's your first one?
Anyway, the first one is the classic one, like customer service. Like I feel like it's one of those things that gringos are very critical of, and us Chileans too are critical of, or have experienced a lot of things where you go, you know what? I don't need this.
This customer service is not great.
Not as great.
I was literally thinking the other night, because I've lived here for so long that I have forgotten, specifically with like restaurants, I have forgotten how, coming from the US and coming here, how different the service is. And I don't want to say bad, because the service isn't bad, it's just much slower. Like you go to a restaurant, you're going to spend minimum an hour there just because it's going to take a while for you to get served. Your waiter's not going to come by the table all the time and check on you. You have to wave them down. And I forget about this, and then I go and I visit the US, and I'm like, oh my God, leave me alone. Stop being so obsessed with me.
Right.
And so it's just normal now, and it doesn't bother me at all, because I'm just used to it.
Yeah, you're not the first gringo or gringe that I've heard say that.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's just how it is. And actually, I kind of like it now, because I don't feel rushed. Because when I go to the US, I sit down to like have, dinner with my grandmother, and I'm like, within 15 minutes we've gotten our food and we're done eating, and I'm like, oh well, I wanted to like have conversations and talk and like socialize, and
right, without having each 5 minutes somebody comes here.
And now
is everything okay?
Yeah, and now I feel like I'm taking your table because I want to sit here for a while and talk to my grandmother, but you need your tips, and I don't know. So That's so yeah, but that's one of I guess the positive things about slow customer service here. But don't get me started on banks or the Extendida or anything like that.
Okay, so first I was gonna say like yes, the same as you, like the service, and this comes from a person who has been a waiter a few times, like more than once,
right?
And I wasn't necessarily the fastest waiter, but
because they put you in waiters. So you walk slower. No, okay, sorry.
You just wait. I thought that was my job, to just wait. Anyway,
I just gotta wait and then service.
But you know what I don't like when I can sense that the person is not being quite very nice or very having a kind or polite attitude.
Right.
That bothers me.
I think that's anywhere though, right?
Yeah.
Just don't be a dick.
Yes, but I've seen sort of, again, in my own personal perception, and I do feel a little bad saying these things, but there's a little bit of a pattern here,
right? With
people being not very nice or not very polite or friendly, or which is, a huge cultural difference with somewhere like the U.S.,
right, or even other Latin American countries, because I have this joke with my boyfriend that is, oh man, the service was so good, and my boyfriend's like, you know why? And I'm like, why? And he's like, because they were foreign. And I'm like, I don't know what it is about Chile.
I've commented similar things.
Yeah,
I feel very blessed or gracious that there are a lot of Venezuelans now in service, because they can be so nice and so friendly, and
absolutely,
with a little bit more of a warm attitude. So I like that. But how about customer service in places like banks, hospitals, clínicas?
Oh goodness,
AFPs.
We'll just say, I've said it before on the podcast, never take the first no for an answer, because somebody, like in Chile, Chileans don't like to not know the answer, and when they don't know the answer, instead of saying let me ask, they're gonna say no, that's not possible, or no, we don't do that, or just no. Never take the first no. Go to someone else. Keep asking that person. Keep bothering.
What if you this or that?
Unfortunately, you have to come up with the solution. I think that also, I have many theories about this. I could just talk about this for a whole podcast. I think that's also not their fault. I think there's a lack of training.
I was going to say the same thing.
That goes into, like, they just sort of throw you into a bank situation or hospital situation, and they're like, figure it out. And so there's this like fear of like, if I don't know the answer, I could lose my job or something.
Absolutely. And I think it's the same with restaurants and with service, and I was gonna say something really similar, like that there's not a dedication to sit down with the person and explain, hey, here's what you have to do. Even if it sounds like I'm talking to a 5-year-old, but even if
it's not. It's training.
It's explaining what you have to do.
It makes your restaurant better quality. It makes your clinic run smoother, and
whatever maison you are behind.
Exactly, totally.
To explain, hey, and try to be really friendly, and this is what you have to do, and this is what you have to do in this case. Of course, this is not all places, but that is something that I've seen. You see more than once. That you see.
And you remember those places with good service. Like, you're like, dang, that was good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You, like, remember. But, there you go. Very cool.
Also, sometimes they have conflicting solutions between something. Like, say you have a doubt or a problem that you have to solve with your, whatever, health institution, or with your boletas in SII. So you call in the phone, and they tell you something quite different from the person at the maison, how do you say that? Like the reception.
Exactly.
And that also can be like, I think it stems from what you said before. Like, there's a fear of not being able to say, like, I actually do not know the answer to that, but let me ask.
There's much more of a hierarchy in Chile, so there's not like an open relationship between manager and employee. So in the US, for example, like in jobs that I had, my managers would always say, but if you have any questions, ask this person or ask me and we'll find a solution.
Right.
Here, it's like, I am the manager, you are the underling, figure it out. That's not my my job to like help you do that.
Right.
So, so all the love to Chileans, and hopefully as foreigners come in, they bring that more openness to the jobs. I think that'd be good.
Why not copy the good stuff?
Always copy the good stuff that
bad
foreigners bring. Yeah, not the bad stuff.
Or Chileans learning by themselves, and progressing. And,
absolutely.
Learning more. I think this is related to...
This is number 2?
My number 2, which
okay.
is... we can be a little bit scared of conflicts.
Yeah.
Chileans can have a hard time confronting certain situations. Because, again, I feel like there's a fear of... In this case, a fear of things turning into a big fight or turning into a conflict, or instead of immediately saying something in a more assertive or honest or transparent way.
Much more passive-aggressive in general.
So there's a passive-aggressiveness.
Yeah.
That gets created there, or gets spun. What's the word I'm looking for? It happens. It happens.
The reaction will be more passive aggressive than aggressive.
Yeah.
If somebody has a problem with you, let's say you say something off the cuff, which gringos do. We're very which is a true thing about gringos too. We say things. We're much more open. We're much more aggressive.
But that can be
But that
much
can
more aggressive as
right.
well.
We're much more aggressive, and so that might offend a Chilean friend of ours, but instead of our Chilean friend coming to us and being like, look, you really bothered me, it might be more that you suddenly notice that friend is more standoffish.
Yeah.
And so
they want you to look at them, their face. And I notice something in the face.
Right.
Expression instead of saying something.
Yeah. So that can make relationships, friendships, or like romantic relationships a little complicated.
Yeah.
Or familial relationships, like my relationship with my mother-in-law, for example. Like, I might not realize that thing I said in Spanish came off really weird, and then suddenly my boyfriend's like 3 days later, like, oh, she's still upset with you, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, what? What'd I do?
I had no idea.
You have no idea, and it's just
there's people I've met, like I swear to you, like, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago, have no idea if they like me or not. All the Chileans, I mean.
Because they just don't like you.
Because there's no like direct, transparent indication.
Yeah, and gringos will very much be like, you know what, Alejandro, you're a good guy.
I like you. Yeah.
I like you.
And when they don't like you, the same. Like,
yeah, like
you know what, I don't like you.
Or they, yeah, exactly. Suddenly, if you think you have a good relationship with a Chilean friend, and suddenly you're not invited to their birthday party, and you're like, what? What did I do?
Yeah, I never knew that they had a problem. Because they talked to somebody else who communicated you instead of confronting the problem. And I think there's things that you can understand there too. Like, people they'd rather not get into a fight, or there's that feeling.
It's part of the culture.
I'd rather not get into any kind of problem or fight or... And I think there's also, you know what I've observed about this? The people who are considered very direct and sort of like having very strong or intimidating personalities. No, I said it in the opposite way. The people who are associated to be like, this is a very direct, honest person.
Yeah.
What a loudmouth. What a, I don't know what's the term. Like, sin pelos en la lengua.
Yeah, like they say whatever they want to say.
It's usually associated with someone who is also very, supposedly has a very strong personality, or can be very aggressive, or can be...
Right, it's automatically seen as aggressiveness rather than somebody who's just more assertive or more honest, or... Yeah. It's just a different culture.
It is.
It's so, like, if you're planning to come to Chile to study or whatever, like, keep an eye out for that Chileans are much more reserved.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. So, and that's just different than a lot of other cultures, especially if you're coming from the U.S. I can't speak for other cultures because I'm from the U.S., but people from the U.S. are much more direct, and that translates into a lot of things. Yeah. Saying something to your coworker, you might be thinking you're just saying like, "Hey, can you send that email?" And your coworker might take it as like this person's being bossy.
He's being bossy, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And so you just have to, watch out for those relationships, and having a conversation with your friends can just really make a difference. Like, hey, I'm just this way. I'm not trying to be bossy. Things like that.
But I also recommend Chileans. That sounds very big-headed. Like, I recommend
I think there's
18
a balance.
million people, where people in my community, friends, co-workers, family members, to like, you can say
how you feel.
Say how you feel, and nothing bad is gonna happen.
No, and if they're really your friend, especially if they're your gringo friend, like they're gonna understand. Like they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm really glad that you came to me with this, and now I know, and now we can fix it."
Yeah, thank you for being honest.
Yeah. Alejandro and I know this very well between our relationship.
Yes.
So like, this is like me and him talking. Like, that time when I did this thing.
Yes.
Yeah, because that is very much us. So yeah, good.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Good one.
Again, I think these are all kind of related.
That's okay.
Socially awkward and shy. We can be a culture that is socially awkward and shy. Again, I know I'm saying things that are generalizations at the same time. There are all sorts of personalities within Chileans, just like in any country. But I think there's a thing with gringos coming to parties or social gatherings for the first time, and not feeling that they can be as open or as
totally
as the way they would do it in the United States.
Yeah.
Because people are more shy, or they come off as them having like a more close group of friends instead of immediately inviting you in.
Right. There's no such thing as like the welcome wagon. Like when you go to a new party, like if you walk into a party and you don't know anybody, you are going to be standing in the corner by yourself because nobody is going to approach you and be like. Or
you have to be the one who goes. And
you have to
like,
initiate.
Hey, hello, initiate the conversation. Exactly.
Yeah, you have to you as the person who doesn't know anybody has to be like, hey, hi, I'm, Alejandro's friend. He's not here yet, like, blah, blah, blah. And you might get some looks because going into a conversation or going into somebody and introducing yourself is not something a Chilean would probably do.
Yeah,
they would probably just wait on their phone, in the corner until their friend showed up.
Or say an initial hello and then phone and then...
Oh, yeah, because you got to kiss everybody and then they'll ignore you.
Yes.
But also, I was going to say, there's a stereotype, especially like in the U.S., because we live closer to Mexico and to Central America, that Latinos are very loud and they like to dance. They're very boisterous. And like, you watch the movie The Heights that Lin-Manuel Miranda did and everybody's
right.
and like doing all these things.
Yes.
Chileans are not like that. Not until like about 3 a.m. when they've had like 10 piscos.
Exactly.
That's when it starts to get wild. But if you want that kind of like that type of feeling, Chile's not that place. Chileans, like the girl said in the fungi thing, Chileans very much are, it's like they call themselves like the Britain of South America because they're very much more reserved. They like their tea time.
That's the word.
More reserved. And
Okay, number 4, a hard time taking criticism, which is all we've done so far.
All the Chileans listening to this have turned it off and have been like, fuck you guys.
All right.
Pinguino's already walked out. He just pressed record and left. He's angry.
Taking criticism, taking it as if it's some kind of like negative, I don't know what's the word. Or
like
they get
attack
or criticism, instead of taking it as something constructive or that should motivate you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, a general observation, not everybody is like this.
Yeah.
Other people are not like this.
You have to what I've noticed in my English classes, for example, you have to develop a rapport with your students before you can really get into like the correcting them. You can't just like jumping off the bat correcting everything they say because they're really not going to be responsive to that. So you have to sort of develop a rapport and like a safe space for them to realize that this is you trying to make them better, not trying to criticize them. Right.
And on a personal level.
Right. And I think that, and I don't have as much experience with this because I don't work at a company, but I've heard through my students who are like managers that it's really hard for them to talk to their employees that work under them because they don't want to come off as they're attacking this person. And it's sort of like, it's never my fault. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, but like, like if your manager comes to you and says like, oh, you didn't send that email that I asked you. Oh, no, but like it wasn't like the program, and it just like, but Jorge and like.
Or it's because this other person was saying something to me at the same time, so that's why I didn't. There's always a defense or a defensive answer.
Exactly.
That comes out instead of saying like, oh yeah, you're right, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm gonna do that right now, or whatever. You know?
You know what, it was my fault.
It was my fault.
I meant to send that, but I forgot to write it down or whatever. There's like, again, sort of related to all those things, like with the bank and everything, like nobody wants to be like, I don't know, or I didn't do that right, or whatever. And again, I think it's related to this like cultural thing of not wanting to look ridiculous, you know, and it's just part of the culture.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but I mean, like, look, we can all improve. There's a balance. There's a balance. I know personally that I can be too aggressive sometimes, especially living here. Maybe it wouldn't be seen as too aggressive in the U.S., but I have to temper my attitude because I do live here. But at the same time, like, you know, I don't think it's an appropriate reaction in a business world necessarily to get angry at somebody for being like, hey, I asked you to send that email, and everybody can grow, right?
Right. Which doesn't mean you have to yell at them. But
you don't have to yell at them.
But be like, hey, remember I told you to say this? Please send it.
Be more gentle. Like,
and respond in a kind of like, oh yeah, you're right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you're a boss, you know, or you're thinking about opening up a business in Chile or whatever, like be aware that you might have to, you know, manage your working style, I guess you'd say, or like management style if you have Chilean employees. Might be just different. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many times have you had, related to this whole issue of like people not wanting to come off as dumb or silly or ridiculous, have you had that experience where, I've had it more than once, and I think Pinguino has, where you ask for a direction for a place
in the street, yeah,
and the person is like, but yeah,
they tell you where to go, but they actually have no idea,
and you go into that direction and then you don't find it, and then you find out that it was the opposite direction, or it was like left, not straight. Or
this is good advice for people visiting Chile. Don't ask people, and unfortunately just use a map, because they're going to tell you. I mean, you got a 50-50 chance to like get somebody who does not know where you're going. So it might just be better to use a map or ask maybe somebody like from a kiosk.
Yes.
Because they work there.
Yeah.
So just somebody off the street though. The people look at me like I'm an insane person when they ask me, where is this thing? And I say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. They look at me like I'm insane, like they just expected me to like give them some sort of answer.
Right. But
I'm like,
of course it's better to say like, I don't. That's the thing. What's the phobia with saying I don't know? I'm sorry. I don't know.
I guess just not looking weird. Like, but like nobody like.
Nobody's demanding you to know everything.
Like if somebody's like, I don't go to sleep at night going, that idiot that didn't know where Funnels was. Like, or that person that tried the ATM. Oh man, that dumbass that tried the ATM and it didn't work. Like,
no, of course not.
Nobody's thinking of you. I don't know. It's weird.
Anyway, on to a little bit of more positive comments.
Okay.
Chile, Chilean culture, how the city and buildings are built. They're all built with seismic awareness. And we Chileans can be very, what's the word? Like numb to little earthquakes.
Right.
Especially small ones.
Yeah.
Small earthquakes.
I've gotten that to that point.
And yes, people like you who have been here for a while now are accustomed to not even feel them. Yeah. I don't even feel them sometimes.
Yeah.
The gringos chat in the groups.
Oh my God, they go crazy.
Oh my God, did you
feel that? Oh my God, let me
I'm always like, no. And I don't mean to come off as this very like fearless person. I didn't even feel that. I actually didn't.
Yep.
Our bodies are more accustomed to.
We needed to be bigger for us, Alejandro, to feel it.
Exactly.
These days, it's been such a long. We've had so many of them in us. I mean,
that's what they said.
That's exactly.
That's what they said.
No, I used to be extremely like I used to be that person that was the first person to feel the like the little beginning shakes. of my friends, and now I feel like I'm the last person. Like, and like the like Discover Chile and those like gringo sites like go
Facebook groups.
crazy, and I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about at all.
I've been there several times.
Yeah. So, of course, there are some that you can't be like. If it was like, you know, really a big one, and somebody's
Yeah.
like, I totally didn't know, you know, they're just being a turd. But
There are some shakies that are a little stronger.
yeah.
And then I text.
When it's a
them.
legit, when
Oh,
it's like, yeah,
I,
like,
I did feel that one.
yeah, that one was okay, little wiggle.
Yeah.
But and you sort of like, you just don't get scared anymore. You just sort of like sit there
yeah.
and wait for it to
exactly.
stop wiggling. Like you're just like.
Yeah.
You just sort of look around. You're like, is it done? Is it done? Is it
Yeah.
done? Okay, it's done.
You can
now.
actually
Pause the video, for
just
example.
continue with whatever you were doing.
Yeah.
Working or reading or.
There's the types of earthquakes where you don't pause your Netflix, and then the type of
Yes.
earthquakes that you pause your
I
Netflix
mean,
for
you're
briefly.
right. You do have
briefly.
a point. You do have a point. There are some the stronger shaky. Sometimes you just to check a little bit, like how long is this gonna take?
Yeah, are we doing is it gonna, because sometimes it starts with a, like, if you've been in a bigger one, which I have, like, not the 2010 one, but I've been in some.
I did feel that one.
Yeah, yeah. There was one a few years ago that was pretty strong. Like that, they sort of start with a little shake and then they get bigger.
Yeah,
And
it
so-
went for some seconds.
So you sort of start with a little, that you start to notice the shake. So sort of like you pause the Netflix to see if it's gonna get a little bigger, and then you're like, nah, and then you start your Netflix back up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But
I think it's pretty awesome that I don't know if you've talked about this issue in another episode where you speak more about the architecture or the construction of buildings and houses and stuff. But I think it's pretty awesome that everything is built with awareness of earthquakes.
Chile is very, very good with their infrastructure,
Yeah.
with their roads.
There's a whole code.
Yeah,
you
like
have to
if you
follow.
go to any other South American country, really, the roads, the buildings aren't going to compare with the quality that they have in Chile. Like I remember one time we had an earthquake here, and it was shaky. It was a bigger one, but like we went about our life and just kind of like, we're like, haha, remember that thing yesterday? Ha ha ha. And they had the exact same seismic like magnitude
the number,
in
yeah.
California, who should also have the very
Yes.
similar infrastructure. And like buildings were like on the, like not collapsed,
Not
but
collapsing,
like
but
cracking, and like
and
the grocery
breaking.
stores were totally fucked up. And it's just like, we're really lucky, especially in Santiago, that you are safe. Like you really are. I mean, it's really devastating, like seeing what happened in Haiti this past week, because that's
right.
another country that is just, they just don't have the money to build on that infrastructure. And so something, or like last year in Mexico, there was an earthquake. Things that are like half the seismic magnitude that we have here is going to devastate a city when it wouldn't even, like we would literally not even pause our Netflix for it.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to sound callous. I'm just trying to like put out there that Chile, especially Santiago, has amazing infrastructure and is really prepared for earthquakes.
It's a great thing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And finally, number 7.
Ding dong dong.
We cannot not mention this. A pretty awesome one as well. Good wine. That is true.
You're gonna assume it about Chile, and it is abso-fucking-lutely true.
Yes. We're usually in the around 7th place when they do all those top 10s of wine of the different publications that talk about
Of the world.
of the world.
Yeah.
They talk about like the best countries in the world to have wine, blah blah blah. And we're usually between 6 and 8, 7 average.
Right.
There's a good reason for that. We have amazing valleys, amazing variety.
The difference in the coastline and the different
Yes.
places where you can grow
different
it.
climates.
And the thing is, honestly, we have an entire wine episode with a girl named Jessica, and she is like she's a sommelier. So like, if
Yeah,
you want to
I
learn
heard it.
about wine, she's got all the Chilean info about wine. And she said like Chilean wine's actually better than a lot of countries, but they don't have the clout yet, because for a long time the Chilean wine wasn't really exported, and Chileans. Anyway, so Jessica explained that like Chile is actually really new in the market. and that when they were producing wine for a long time, they were just producing them for Chileans, and there wasn't, like, Chileans really just drink table wine. They don't necessarily want the really sophisticated thing. They also have that Spanish thing where a lot of times they used to make jote, which is mixing wine with Coca-Cola and things.
Yeah, with
so,
other things.
I really think that Chilean wine is better than a lot of those other places, but it's just not as well known, which is good for us because we can drink a very good wine for very cheap.
I was gonna say that one of the great things, very cheap. Like you can find 4,000 or 5,000 pesos wine, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
Great
and you
wine.
go to another country, that exact same bottle is like 4 times the price.
Yeah.
And like I went to California a couple of years ago, and I just wanted like a basic Californian wine, and it was like $20, and I was like, what? Because I'm used to spending just like 4,000 pesos on a bottle of wine that's really good.
Of a good Cabernet or a good Carmenere.
And that's another thing. If you didn't know, Carmenere is only grown here. So
Yes, the actual grape of Carmenere is only grown in Chile.
Yeah, the grape is from France, but only grown in Chile.
Yeah.
Because, how about we don't do spoilers for the wine episode? You guys go listen to the wine episode. It's so educational. We drink wine, me and Alicia, and we get a little tipsy, and Jessica explains all the Chilean wine stuff. I learned a lot.
The Carmenere story is pretty well known.
Totally.
I'm sort of repentant. I regret the fact that in university, sometimes hanging out with friends, we would do the box of wine, which is freaking disgusting.
Clos and 120 and
Gato, those, because it's a cheap, you can get for like a luca, and it's like we could have put 3 more lucas and have an actual good wine and still have it for like student price. And that is a thing.
I think that's every like culture when you first start drinking, right? Like in university, I remember the like vodka bottles with the handle that were like giants. Right. You know what I mean? And it gives me a headache just to think about those bottles. Right? Yeah.
Or the shitty beer, and then you learn afterwards in life.
We have a beer episode as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, so the beer episode's a little bit less educational because we didn't have a professional. Alicia knows a lot about beer, but we didn't have somebody like Jessica who's like a registered sommelier.
I remember talking to her and her mentioning the same thing a few years ago. Like, the good thing is that Chile is still considered like a niche.
It's niche wine.
Exotic.
Yeah.
Wine.
I mean, in 10 years more, we might be like, damn it, remember that time when we could get cheap wine? I remember one time I went to...
it was still considered hipstery in the rest of the world.
And you accidentally develop a palate for wine, so you go back to the U.S. and you're like, what is this shit? Like, unless you're drinking California wine or French wine or something, you're like, what is this bullshit that you just put in my glass? Unfortunately, you can't enjoy just like normal wine anymore.
People used to thinking like, oh, this is really good, and it's
and you're like,
not.
No, you take a sip and you're like, if I drink this glass, I will have such a bad fucking hangover tomorrow. Like, you accidentally develop a palate. Like, I remember when I first came here, I was invited to a party, and so I went to the grocery store and I saw 2-for-1 bottle of wine. It was red wine. I didn't know anything about red wine. I drank it in the U.S., but I didn't have any palate really. And it was 120, which if you guys are listening and you live in Chile and you've been here for any amount of time, you know 120 is like shit wine, like shit wine.
It's pretty low down there.
And I was so excited to get 2 bottles for one, and I brought it to this party, and like looking back now, I'm super embarrassed because I went to this like nice party and brought 2 bottles of 120, and I'm like, well, I didn't know.
People were
probably like, the fuck she do this for? She just. We're not making sangria tonight. Like, what is happening? So wine's great. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this thing. I had so much fun talking with you.
Me too. Had so much fun. This was fun.
We'll have to invite you back. You've passed the test, so we can invite you back now.
Yay!
Yeah. So once again, just tell us. Alejandro, you have stuff you want to share.
I passed the test just like my HIV and my COVID.
Oh, good for you, baby. Negative and negative. I'm glad you told me about the COVID thing now, post recording this in person.
I've told you before.
So, Alejandro, you're also a Spanish teacher, right?
Yes. Profession-wise, my major is media and film. I'm also a filmmaker, but I'm also I'm always working in independent projects on the side. So to earn money and do other things. Now I'm a Spanish teacher. I have some gringo students. They seem to enjoy my class. So go to Instagram and go to spanish.tutor.santiago.
At spanish.tutor.santiago.
Spanish Tutor Santiago with dots in between.
Yeah,
Yes.
with Peters. Okay, perfect.
On Instagram.
And they can, I mean, you've been teaching Spanish for a while,
And,
so you've got experience.
Yes. For
Okay, perfect.
At least 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. So if
Yeah.
you're looking for Spanish classes, do you do them only in person or do you virtual? What's going on with that?
I can do both actually.
Okay, so I
And
mean,
I've been doing them online as well. I actually have a student that lives in Chicago, and we have class every week, more than once a week, online.
yeah. So if you're
So-
thinking about visiting Chile or you just want to learn Spanish, you're listening from the U.S. Alejandro, you can tell he's friendly. You can contact him through Instagram, and y'all can talk. And just again, before we end, events coming up. We have the live Chistolas. Is it in English or is it bilingual?
We're figuring it out.
Okay, so there's going to be at least some English.
I think it's probably going to be in English.
Okay,
In English.
all the comedians
If
in
not-
English.
If not, it's going to be bilingual.
Okay.
On September 4th at TPM Bar, there are several TPM bars. This is the one in Tobalaba, not the one in Hernando de Aguirre. It's TPM Bar Tobalaba in Tobalaba 455. We are going to ask for a pase de movilidad, your vaccination card.
And how much does it cost to go?
And it costs 3,000 or 3,600. You gringos are good with that. You say 3,600 is better to say that.
Okay, why is it 3,600, not 3,500?
Because it includes the cargo por servicio
Ah,
that you get
yeah.
for buying it at this particular website.
Okay. And we'll put all the links there, and then also don't forget our horrible movie night that's coming up October 7th. It'll probably be a horror movie celebrating the great tradition of Halloween in Gringolandia. That'll be fun. I'll be there, or Pinguino and Alejandro.
If
So
you
you-
like bad movies,
We're
come
just
watch
gonna
the
laugh. We're gonna make sure all the protocols also for COVID are followed. So first come, first serve, and we'll put more information on that on the Instagram.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where?
This is at the Black Rock Pub. It is one of the best pubs in the city, in my opinion. I think Alejandro will agree. And
Yes.
it's near Metro Tobalaba. So it's going to be there, as he said, putting more
Es un
information.
antro de gringos. It's a little bit hidden, but it's really
Yeah. And it's very much pub-y. So if you're looking for a pub, that's where you go.
Yeah, with a variety of beers.
Yeah, good beer. It's pub food kind of situation. My boyfriend, who's Chilean, says the best choriana in the city, fish and chips, all those kinds of things. So it's
So,
really good.
Just a show, TPM Bar Tobalaba 455, 3,600 pesos, and it's at 7 p.m.
Yeah, and the Gringo movie night, the
Horrible
horrible
movie.
movie night is free. And like I said, more info on that later. And we love you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
We love you.
We love you. Thank you, Alejandro, for coming and being our
Thank you
guest.
so much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for having me.
absolutely.
This
was
was
fun.
a lot of fun.
Yeah. So when in doubt, Gringo out. Bye. Hey guys, the Chile Today podcast is produced by Diego Pinguino Rivera. It is written by Alicia Lubin and Bethany Francis in conjunction with ChileToday.cl. Hope you enjoy.